Okay, let's see if this works. You guys can see me okay, you can hear me all right. Put it into the chat and let me know. Hello, Jimmy. How are you doing? Jimmy turned up nice and early. It was a minute, 2 minutes late because I was just getting a quick coffee. Second one for the day. Why am I not? Okay, let me just move it that way. Okay, second one for the day. All good, super. We have a new member. I didn't even realize, but we have a new Elite Navigator member, Rafael. Rafael, I'm not going to try and pronounce that, but yeah, Rafael is a new member with us, so welcome, big welcome to Rafael. Now, if you are on the session, do drop a message, say hi, let me know that you're on, let me know if you, especially if you're new to the session, right? Drop a message, say hi, let me know that you're on, let me know where you're joining us from. So a quick brief, and I'll do this every Friday. Through the week, Monday to Friday, or Monday to Thursday, I do a daily live stream at 3 o'clock for our members, our Elite Navigator members, going through trade ideas, trade setups, talking about news and all that kind of stuff. And we've been doing that for a couple of years now. And I thought maybe we'll open it up on Friday to everyone else. So this is where we are. We're here on Friday. We've opened up this this 3 p.m. live stream for everyone on YouTube. So if you are joining us on YouTube, well, I'm only on streaming on YouTube. So if you're joining us, a big good morning, Bjorn. How are you doing from Holland? This is also another reason why I'm doing this, so that we get to meet everyone from all around the world. And hey, it's available live on YouTube to you guys, absolutely free, right? So let me know all you can do for me, or the two things you can do for me. One, drop a message, say hi, let me know where you're joining us from, and remember to click the like and subscribe button if you haven't already. Any questions, put into the chat, let me know. Here to help. And then if you really like what we're doing here, be like Diana, be like Jimmy, and click that join button. I don't see it here, but there's a join button near my name there, and you can join as an Elite Navigator. You get this live stream every day at 3 p.m. Mostly every day. Sometimes I travel. Okay, so Friday we're gonna do a quick recap of what has happened over the week. Probably not the best week to start on because not much happened over the week. But yeah, what has happened over the week, and then also what to look out for into next week, and any fantastic trades that we've gone through for the week, any possible trades that might be coming up for next week. All right, so we'll do all that. As you can see with all my ums and ahs, I'm still going through this. Haven't really thought this through. I just thought it was a good idea, and I thought we'll do it. Okay, so feedbacks and comments are always welcomed. Now. Jimmy's from Australia. I know that. Nice. I like that. Fantastic. Okay. Let's go through what has happened through the week. Okay. This is going to test a bit of my memory as well because I don't really take the notes down on what has happened. Monday was a little bit quiet. I think during this week we also had comments from Trump about increase. I'm going to make a note of all this as well moving forward. We had comments from Trump about increased tariffs on semiconductors and digital taxes on countries that offers digital taxes. We're going to have talk about Trump trying to fire Lisa Cook from the Fed Reserve, trying to bully the Fed Reserve into lowering rates, probably trying to influence the Fed Reserve into lowering rates faster. This week we started off the back of what that Chair Powell said on Friday last week, where the whole question of, oh, are they going to cut rates? Is the Fed Reserve on a rate cut, going to turn to a rate cut path? Friday last week, Chair Powell said, hey, we're pivoting. We're most likely going to pivot towards a rate cut scenario or path, and that's why we saw that drop. Right, this was on Friday last week. We saw the dollar index plummet from 9870 right down to 9760 within 1, 2, 3, 4 hours. It started at 10. By 1 o'clock, it was down at 9760. On Monday, we thought it was going to bounce back up before continuing lower. It didn't. The treasury yields kicked in. Treasury yields became very attractive because of the dollar plummeting, which saw the dollar recover right back up to the resistance of 9860. So it's stuck within this range. Basically, this week, the dollar index has shown us that it's gone right down to the bottom of the range, came right back up to that trend line and that top of the range, and then through Wednesday and Thursday, came right back down again, right? And yes, gold has been doing well for us. Dinah's just sharing that yesterday gold worked very nicely, right? Pushing up within that bullish channel that we were talking about. I don't know why I deleted that bullish channel before, but it was that was a bullish channel we were looking at. And then this was where we were yesterday at 3 p.m. right there. We said, hey, it might break out to the upside. Thought that the ultimate target would be 3440, but I didn't think it would get there that quickly. So we have that kind of levels there. I thought 3430 would be a reasonable level, which it got shy of that, 3422. So yes, sometimes we do get it right on our projections. So that's the dollar index, which popped yesterday, that index consolidation, and popped down. And then in terms of news, not much else. We didn't have that much news this week, which is why we saw the dollar being very technical, right, reacting to the technical levels. So in terms of what to look out for, the highlights for this week, we were very keen on the euro dollar with the inverted head and shoulder. I did get into that, took a small one, got out a bit too early. We were looking at that at 6 o'clock yesterday. We were pinging each other on our Discord channel. So yes, we have Discord as well. On our Discord channel, as it was breaking that neckline to the upside, got in for a quick scalp, didn't hold it all the way. I think there's still a continuation to the upside on the euro. And there was another pound trade that I got into early this week, but it was also another small trade. So not a lot to shout about for this week. Any questions so far? Again, if you're on the session, drop a message, say hi. Remember to click that thumbs up and that subscribe button if you haven't already. Okay. Then let's look forward to what else could happen moving forward. Tonight, 8:30 p.m. GMT plus 8. I'm based in Singapore, so GMT plus 8. We do have the US Core PCE Price Index. Core PCE Price Index, again, it's an inflationary number. 0.3 to 0.3. No big surprises expected there. I don't think we're going to see anything too crazy on the dollar ending this week. Then, if you look into next week, on Monday, a whole bunch of news, but nothing really important, nothing really to shout about. The US is going to be on a holiday in observance of Labor Day. So US on a holiday, Canadians on a similar holiday. Volatility and liquidity might be a little bit low starting from today, right? Because it's going to be a long weekend. They're not going to jump into any crazy trades. So starting today, later on today, liquidity will slow down, volatility will slow down for the long weekend through to Monday. Then on Monday we're into the new month already. We're in September, right? September 2nd on Tuesday we have the ISM PMI for ISM manufacturing PMI for the US. Not bothered about that. Aussie GDP might be interesting. And then that's where we're going to start, where we will have the JOLTS job opening. So on Tuesday, US employment numbers start. JOLTS job openings. Um, on Thursday, ADP non-farm employment change numbers to be released. And then on Friday next week, we're going to have the non-farm employment change number. And you can see the last time round, August 1st, we had the non-farm, which was 147, got revised down to 14. Expected 106, got released at 73. So employment numbers in the US are all over the place. It's all over the place. It's now currently sitting at 73K. Later into next week or in the middle of next week, we're going to see the projections come around. I think it's going to be quite interesting looking at what the non-farm is going to be and whether the unemployment rate is going to start climbing again. It did from last month climb from 4.1 to 4.2. So I think the focus or the volatility for next week is going to be a little bit low, well, going to be very low on Monday. It's going to start ramping up on Tuesday, but more on Wednesday with the JLTS job openings. On Thursday with the ADP non-farm. Not to bother about that, not to bother about that. Yeah, the ADP non-farm, and then on Friday, it's going to be massive because we have the US employment numbers together with the Canadian employment numbers. So we might do a live trading session on that. If you think that's a good idea for a live trading session, put it into the chat. Let me know, let me know. Okay, so that's all the news. That's all the news done. What happened this week, what's coming up next week. I think the volatility, the setups are going to be with the employment numbers for the US. Now, Diana has a good question there. Where can I see a summary if I'm not on the live session? This summary sheet, typically I do post it. I'm supposed to post it in the YouTube post area, community area. Well, I'm terrible with that. So one shortcut is you can just jump onto the video, the live stream video, scroll right to the end, pause, and you can see the whole thing as I work through it. Because sometimes we do change it through and through. But ideally, I'll get better at posting this onto the community section, or maybe I should post it back onto the Discord group as well. Let me know which one works better for you. Okay, and we've got Magas from Ethiopia. Good to have you with us, Magas. All right, so now with all that said, core PCE tonight, which should bring about some movements, but I don't think it's going to be that much because it is expected to stay at 0.3%. And then it's going to end the week with a long weekend on the US Labor Day. And then Monday is going to be quiet. Tuesday is going to be a startup, engine starting up, to Wednesday where we have the GOTS, and then Thursday we have ADP, and then Friday is the massive one. Okay, so looking at the dollar index here, just a quick poll. Just a quick poll here for today. Do you think it would be better on the H4 or the H1 kind of setups? Let me know. What do you prefer? On our usual days, on our Mondays to Thursdays, we do it on the H1 setups. On Fridays, it's a new thing today, so let me know if you prefer it. What do you think? H4, H1? Which works better for you? Both. Why did I not expect that to come around? Okay, we'll do both then. Since Diana said both, we'll do both. Okay, I'll move that aside for now because when I go to H4, it'll mess everything up. The thing here now is the dollar index. I had 61.8 here. That's broken, so we can take that one away. That consolidation is done. It didn't go up to test that bearish trend line, and then it's there. Okay, so we clear out all of that. The main thing to notice here, especially if you look at it on the H4 time frame, is that we have this slightly bullish trend line supporting it up. We have this bearish trend line holding it down. Okay, so this is on H4 time. Oops, that way. Come back. This is on H4 time frame. Don't need that. Actually, having an H4 does help. Does keep me a little bit, makes me clean up my charts a little bit more. That's good. Okay, so now I'm looking at this. It's sitting right across. Considering that we're not going to see that much of a news on the dollar over the next couple of days, first thing I'm going to think about is the core PCE, and after that some rest for the dollar. What it looks like might happen here on the H4 if the core PCE comes out at a 0.3. Okay, I don't expect a surprise here. And also, with that said, when you look at because it's an inflationary number, right, when you look at the Fed Watch 2 on the CME site, it's dropped slightly, ever so slightly, the chance of a rate cut on the 17th of September. We're coming close to it now. On the 17th of September, it's gone from an 88.7 a day ago. It's dropped just a little bit to 85.1. I'm still hoping for a 50 basis point rate cuts suggestion vote to come around, but doesn't seem like it's going to happen. But it's dropped slightly from 88.7 to 85.1. Okay, so when we look at the dollar, what it looks like might happen, we take this whole move, put in our levels again. It's just breaking above 23. It's just breaking above 23. What it looks like might be interesting, or what might make it interesting, is given that 50 is right here, not that far off as well, right? It's broken down. It might come back up into this area here and then turn back down again, right? And I think that's a similar picture on the H1 time frame. So on the H4, I'm thinking we might see a little bit of a bounce back up on the dollar up to 9820, then maybe a push back down again that way. Now, if you look at it on the H1 time frame, that makes a bit of sense. I mean, 23.6 is broken, so take that away. Pushes up into this area here, into about this area here, 9820. Okay. I kind of like that. I kind of like that. I'll take a copy of this, and this out. This is gonna be our Friday one. Okay. Every Friday we're gonna do a new session. 29th August. This is the Friday ones. I don't know. I'm just gonna put that in now. So looking at the dollar index, we're anticipating that it could come back up slightly I would say that it will retest 9820. Um, could okay. Could retest and reject 9820, then trade lower to support at 9760. Okay, so test this level there. So it might see a bit of a bounce back up before pushing back down. The main thing is that it needs to stay below 9835. Okay, needs to stay below 9835 and bearish trend line. There we go. So it could, I mean, judging that retrace, it could even come back up to that point, but it needs to stay below this area here for it to turn back down again. I'm just looking at about that. Does that kind of make sense to you? Does that align with your setups? Let me know. Again, this is not a signal service, right? If you come in here, if you're on this and you're thinking, oh, signal me trades, this is not really a signal service. Well, not really. This is not a signal service at all. It is sharing my analysis with you guys, my thoughts and analysis, and then also where you can kind of match it with yours, see whether it aligns. Okay, so I'm happy with that for the dollar. It makes sense on the H4. It makes sense on the H1 time frame. Then we look at the Kiwi dollar. Right, we're sharing this yesterday where we're looking for it to sit across and then start pushing to the upside as it broke that previous high. That's kind of forming up. I was sharing that on Discord as well. I'll take that away for now. All right, so anticipating that we're going to see some dollar strength before that weakness come back into that 9760. I'm just thinking whether I can break 97. I think it might need a bit more than that to break 97. I think it might push back up before coming back down. Some dollar strength before the weakness. If you look at this on H4, that still makes sense. Yes. Back my 50 and 61.8. So it's come right up to just under that 50 retracement. And it's sitting right there. See, the thing here, if you look at it on H4, the TSRI MACD shows a possibility. It's not formed yet. Diana's going to be the first one to tell me it's not formed yet, but it's trying to cross over. And if it does cross over, you see the last time it crossed over here, we saw a good retrace on the Kiwi. So if it does cross over, we could see a good retrace on the Kiwi again. Take that, and if you look at this, oh wait, pound dollar. This is what we talked about yesterday. Pound dollar's getting to that point again. It might distract me. I might jump onto that. I'm quite keen on that. We were talking about this yesterday. I'm very keen on this setup. So thanks for identifying that, Jimmy. 1.3485, 40 to 85 to the downside. Even firstly at 65 down to 85. That's every day at 3 o'clock when we start talking, the pound dollar drops and then it retraces. So wait for the hour to close, and then I don't think it's something you should rush into. We got 30 minutes, give it some time. It's creeping out of the Bollinger Band already, so it might come back in a little bit or sit there for a while. But we look at the Kiwi dollar first on H4. I think that don't think this is the one to look out for. I think what you will be looking out for is this point here. So it might retrace down and then push back up that way. But if you look at it on the H1 time frame, I think that's quite a narrow. I'll squeeze it in a little bit. I think it's either going to retrace back in a little bit, or it's going to sit across before pushing up, right? But the retrace and bounce fits with what we anticipate here for the dollar, where it's going to strengthen before that weakness come around. So if you look for this retrace and bounce, that kind of works. I know some of you would look to enter here, but I would still prefer. Okay, let's look at it on the H4. Let's do a setup on the H4 that way. Yeah, I'm going to look for setups on H4. Just to keep it a little bit different to our usual sessions. So you look for that to test. I think that would be quite interesting where you look at the 5875. The stop loss will be about 20. Your take profit will go up to about 60, just below that previous swing high. So let it test, rebound, and push. So that's what we're looking at. A buy, retest and bounce, and a buy at 5875, 2260. Friday. We look at this on a H4. Yeah, I think while we're talking about this, I've just kind of figured out we'll do Fridays on H4. We'll do the analysis, but we look for the setups on H4. If you want the H1 kind of setups, then you have to join us, the Elite Navigator. We'll do that on a daily basis. All right, there we go. 5875, stop loss 20, take profit 60 to the upside, and bounce and retest. No, it's not really a retest and bounce. It's just a retrace and bounce. We're looking for that. Okay. Does that make sense? All good? So keep an eye on this. That's forming up nice. That's really forming up nicely. This could be that one trade. If you're joining us for the first time, obviously disclaimer applies. It's scrolling. I can put scroll on that. Okay. Obviously disclaimer applies. You saw that at the start of the video. But if you're joining us for the first time, this could be that one trade. Hopefully I'm not jinxing it, but hopefully this will be that one trade that tells you why you should join us consistently. Pound dollar to the downside. I'll do that later again, but this is the Aussie dollar and H4. That didn't trigger, take that away. Pushing back up. Similar to the Kiwi dollar, it's likely to retrace back down. I don't need this for now. I'm looking at this back up and these levels. No, post it, Jimmy. Come on, you have to post it. You can't let the posting jinx it. You have to post. Keep posting, and then it'll work out. We're looking at that possibility on the H4 because it's been pushing up. So if it stays above that 23.6 level, that 6510 level, it might retrace slightly and push back up, or it could do a little bit deeper into this area here. I kind of like that a bit more because it's a round number level here at 0.65. So it might bounce off 0.65 and push back up, which is where you'll be looking at about 6515. Stop loss would be about 25. Take profit would be about 50 to the upside. Like it. That's on the H4 time frame. Let's check it on the H1. It's sitting right across. If it does break below 6525, about there, I think we could see that retrace. And then if you look at the fib levels on a smaller time frame, it will come down to that 50. So I think that works out quite nicely in terms of what I want to see. Right, come down to that 50, bounce off, and we could see that push back up. This might be more than an hour-long session because we're doing H4, we're doing H1. I might even go into cryptos as well if I'm not absolutely burnt by the time we get to gold. So 6515. Let's do that one. Buy at 0.6515. Stop loss 25. Take profit 50 to the upside. A dollar is still sitting there a little bit undecided. Well, not a little bit undecided, very undecided in that consolidative area. Then we come to my pound dollar, which I really like. Why I like it so much is because look at that bearish trend line. It started here, it held here, and then it's being held right now, right? Pushing down, and then you see my TSRI MACD really crossed and forming to the downside. The only thing that's causing a little bit of a hesitation is on H1 time frame is slightly outside of the Bollinger. But on H4, if you look at this to close in the next 2 hours, you're looking at this closing below this point. It makes a good setup, which we could be looking at 1.3480. Give it a bit of space, 1.3480. You can tighten this down to about 40 pips. So this on H4, 1.3480, tighten it down that way. I think we'll keep that. On the H1 time frame, that's doing well. I like that it's not dropped like a rock because it'd be outside the Bollinger, then it's going to have a big rebound. I like it this way, where even if it does push back up, then we look for that push down there. Okay, so that kind of works with a bit of a hesitation. You might see a bit of a hesitation here at 1.3440. So let's put that in, sell 1.3480, 40 to 80 with a plausible hesitation at 1.34 something something, 1.440. Okay, there we go. What do you think on this H4? I mean, I like this pound dollar possible setup, this possible setup on the pound dollar. What do you think about it? This is possibly something you might jump onto. Let me know. Or do you have other favorites? Okay, then on to the euro. Euro on the H4 time frame. We had that inverted head and shoulder for that possible push back up, right? And it's kind of formed. The only thing that was a little bit why I didn't hold on to my euro trade, this was an H1 time frame, why I didn't hold on to that euro trade for I didn't fully commit to that euro trade was it didn't retrace as far as I thought, right? So I didn't think that there was a big strength to push up. We were looking for it to come down to that 1.1615 level. Right, we are talking about this yesterday because of the push up. It might come down to 1.1615 and then push up from there. It didn't. It came down to 1.1630, 15 pips difference, not a huge one. Then it pushed back up, and possibly I don't think it's because of that, but possibly that's also why we only saw a smallish jump to the upside before it retraced again. So that inverted head and shoulder is still there because it hasn't broken this neckline back down. Might, if the dollar does push back up a little bit, it might break back in. Okay, so we'll take that one away for now. All that, take away. Keep that there as a previous swing level. I'll take that one away. Okay. Then, now if you look at this right here, is that you see from here, you see firstly this indicating possibly that crossover again, possibly that break to the downside. It's a similar story to what we've seen right across because of what the dollar might do, right? And if you look at this again, now on the euro, back up to this point, 38.2, not there yet, 23. Right, so it's broken 23, it's possibly coming down to 38, it might come back down to 50. It might come back down to 50. Okay. Keep that one there. Now I'm going to suggest an idea where we're looking at the dollar and thinking, oh, if it bounces right up, it could hit and retrace and come right back down. But what if? I always like what ifs when we're trading. It sits in that consolidation and it has that massive break. Say, for example, Trump comes around and says something crazy. It breaks right down from this level, 98 holes, and then pushes right down, breaks right through to the downside towards that support level without retracing, right? So this is where the euro might get interesting. Possibly don't need that one. This is on H4. We look at that. We have this trend line here. Catch the bodies, okay? Catch the ends. Now, if you look at this, then I don't really bother. I'm not going to be bothered about what it does now. I'm just going to be sitting there waiting to see, okay, is the dollar going to weaken, or is any big news coming from the Eurozone that's going to push this up? So it does whatever it does in here. It can do whatever it does in here. Not going to be bothered. All I'm watching for is that it breaks above 1 point. Yeah, it does look bullish. 1.1740. 1.1740. No, I think we can go a little bit earlier. 1.1730. We go in a bit earlier. We have a bit of a wider stop. Then we go for that. Towards that previous high. And that's what you're looking for. Right? So this is on the H4 time frame where you're not going to be bothered with what happens in the middle. It retraces down to 50. This is on the H1 kind of setup, so we'll talk about during the week. It does whatever it does in here, but we're looking for that possibility where you can do that small trades, but it comes up to this point here, it bounces, and then it breaks right through. Or it might even do that. Right? So that's what I'll look out for at 1.1730, 40 to 80. If you look at it on H1 time frame, that retrace might be a little bit weaker than we think, because it's already starting to cross. So it might do about that or sit across, but we're looking for that push up. So 1.1730, let's do that one. We have that possible inverted head and shoulder we talked about, but we're going to be looking at a buy of 1.1730, a stop loss of 40, a take profit of 80 to the upside. Towards that previous high we saw in July, we could see a bit of a hesitation here at 1.1770. Some hesitation. The same thing here is a possible hesitation at 1.1730. And like Diana says, we're still, the euro dollar still does look a little bit bullish. Okay. Just to add on to that, you see that push back up a little bit. That's holding, doesn't do anything for us. I don't even want that way. Okay. Then onto the yen. Is it finally going to do something? Right. We talked about this to retrace and come down towards that 147 level. It didn't retrace, but it did push down. Right. So we're looking to sell down as it retraced back up. It didn't, it just dropped. Now take that away. That away. That away. Okay. The dollar, we were thinking to push up and come back down. You see here, this is on the H1 time frame, that the dollar yen doesn't seem like it's going to bounce from this level like what it did that many times, right? On this dotted line, you've seen here, right here, since 5th of August, it's bounced again 7th, again 8th, broke a little bit and bounced off multiple times of this 146.80 level. Yeah, we're going to be a bit more particular. Yeah, 146.80. I'll keep that level there, right? And it's dragging down right now. News, little change as we get, yeah, we know that. Dollar is dragging down. So again, in the scenario of what if we see the dollar drag right down, then this is on H1 time frame. We're going to be looking for a drag down towards that 145, 146 level, round number, right? Which is what we see here. If you look at it on H4, now let's see. Take this whole move up. That's the 50. Take this. That's a 61. So it's going to be a crude. This 145.90, 146. Let's round it to 146 level is crucial. Right? Firstly, a pivot level, and then a 50% retracement, and then a 60% retracement. Great confluence right here. Now, then you look at this. H4 shows that it might bounce back up a little bit, might cross over and bounce back up. H1 shows that it might pull back in. So what we could see here, right, is going to sit across. I think on the take that away, on the H4 time frame, we're going to see it sit across, maybe drag down and bounce that way. Let me think. Technically, fundamentals all depends on it all comes down to the dollar. The dollar does drive everyone crazy. Let me see this. What I'm seeing here in H4 is, that retrace, but it's going to stay within this range. I don't think this does anything for us. Pop in, let's retrace. I think while this support, I think this might be a Friday thing. Next Friday, not today, Friday. Next Friday, NFP kind of data where we'll see that break. We'll see that break at that point, break down to that point, and then a reaction there. So for now, for the week coming up, I think we could still see the yen being stuck in this range between 146.80 and 148. Now, if you look at this, then would it be an idea to do 147.20, 60? No, this is terrible. Not on H4, we might look at it on the H1 where you see, on the H1 you might see that push back up that way. But nothing on the H4. On the H4, I think we're going to see it that stay within that range. So dollar index is likely to continue ranging between 146.80 and 148. Nothing too surprising there, but we want to see a reaction at 146 later on in the week. What do you think? Sounds good. And then I think that's okay. That's okay. That's H1. If you really had to, you might look at, if it stays above, if it comes down at about 147, you look at a stop of 40 and a take of 100 that way. You could look at that on the H4, but I think it's within that range. You want to see how this candle closes first. Okay, then onto the euro yen. Got a lot of lines there. It hasn't triggered yet. Take all of that away for now. Trend line is done. Take that away. Very messy in here between 171.35 and 172 and just under 172. Remembering that the euro dollar, we're thinking, could push up. It might take a little bit longer, but it could push up. And then the US yen, maybe it'll stay within that range, so it could push up a little bit. So on the euro yen, what you might, is nothing for now. Okay, nothing for now, but I kind of like that 172 level right there. See, don't need that. Staying within this level, so it might stay within this range. But what I'll look out for is a break of that 172, and then you see 172.10, 172.20, a stop loss of 40, take profit of 60. That's terrible. We can go a bit nearer. 140, 172.10. Aussie yen, yeah, I can do that. I can do Aussie yen. Yeah, do that. Euro yen H4. It will bounce around here and do whatever it does. You see on the H1 time frame that it's kind of undecided. It's going to cross up. It's going to come back down. It'll be messy in this range. But you look for the euro to push up. You look for the yen to possibly stay within the range. A breakout above 172. You look at 172.10. A 30 pip stop, a 70 pip take. Even if it comes down to this point, it's about 60. Those previous highs still make sense. So I like that one, 172.10 on the euro yen. We were looking for 171 reaction. We look to buy at 172.10. Stop loss of 30, a take profit of 70 to the upside. And this on H4 time frame. Then onto the pound yen, where this was on the H1 that we talked about, right? It wouldn't have got in. You only got in at 2 a.m. this morning. I wasn't looking at it before. It would have pushed down slowly. Now, if you look at the pound dollar, we're thinking that it's going to drop, right? And we're quite happy that it hasn't dropped crazily yet. So you look at the pound yen on H4, it's trying to drag. Pound dollar could drag the pound yen down. So take that away because that's broken. That support is there. The dollar yen is sitting there. That might be a good setup there coming up if it sits across. Dollar's dropping. Look at that dollar drop. Look at that dollar drop. So that's why it's dragging down. You want to watch out there. Then onto pound yen. You want to see it break. Let's look for that one. Pound dollar drops, drags the pound yen down. Dollar drops, drags this down. It needs to break 198 first, which is this level here, which is in this area, which is 38.2. So it needs to clear this whole area. Sorry, my nose is super itchy right now. So it needs to clear this whole area before we're going to see a good sustained drop. It's going to sit across a little bit, but be patient at this point. You'll be looking at 197.80. You'll be looking at a stop of 40 back into this. No. Yep, back into this area. And then it's good space. It's a good space to the downside. Even if you took that point there, it's 80 with the possibility for further downside towards 130, 120 to the downside there. So we could have a big move. We could have a big move here on the pound yen. I typically like to put in a bit of a wider stop on the pound yen. I'd go for that. Break that support, break down, I'll do that. Pound yen, we could be looking at a big one, 198.80, 60 to 120. 198.80, 60 to 120. This is a big one, could be a bit higher risk. You might want to size down on this, but it does need to break that support level. Not my cup of tea. I hope it's a cup of Japanese green tea for the pound yen. The volatility, the choppiness is there, but when it starts moving, it does have it has that volatility I like, right? So a lot of times it's sitting there being choppy, being annoying, and then you have to catch that one crazy move, and it makes it all worthwhile, I feel. Please, thank you. You're most welcome. Yes, we can do Swiss yen and DAX. Should I do cryptos as well? Just let me know. Let me know. Should I do cryptos? We did that I think this week we did that. So let me know, should I continue looking at that? Then we look at the Swiss franc. It's crashing down. Dollar is pushing down. That might happen first before that. So we'll keep that view where it breaks that support, now turn to resistance. Resistance there. Only got stuff. No complaints. I mean, it's trading. We'll get some, we'll lose some, we'll win some, just so long as we know what's happening. Yeah, so we can put a reason and a logic behind it. That's fine. US Swiss franc on H4. This was what we looked at on the H1. Could have got stopped out here on the H1 on US Swiss franc to the downside. Now we're still looking at it to the downside as the dollar pushes lower. If you put in the Bollinger, that's good. I think you give it a bit of space. 7995. Then you do a 25 to a 45 down here. You could go even lower down to 70. I think a 45 down here would be reasonable. A bit tight for an H4 kind of trade, but I think that's still something to look at. You all know that Swiss franc is not my favorite. It's not going to be one of the things that I pay a lot of attention to. But that's a kind of H4 setup. It's crossing over to the downside. H1 works as well to the downside. I think it's more an H1 kind of trade rather than H4 kind of setup. All right, so 7995, 25 to 45. I think I just got a wide stop just to be extra safe, but I think you can even go a little bit nearer for that. So sell at 0.7995, stop loss 25, take profit 45 to the downside, and then onto the US CAD. Push down, break lower, dollar dragging it down. That's all done. That's all done. Take that one away. Don't need that. That's good. So this whole move on H4, it's down at 50. It's coming to 61. So that's the area to watch out for. I don't really need that. No, actually I do. So that's my 61, that's my 50. Yes, that's the area. Dollar index dragging down. We're going to new hour now. It's still the same on the H4. It does need to break below this point. What could happen here? H4. Nothing much until it breaks down and then pushes back up. Support is down here. 1.37 is down here. I feel like this is going to look like that. It gets to 1.37, there's a bit of a gap, it comes back up to that point, and then maybe it pushes down that way. So I want to actually see the reaction there at 1.37. Also that there's a bit of a level there. Right, so yes, US CAD could push lower, or it's likely to push lower, but we want to wait for the reaction at 1.37. Nothing until we see that point. Look for reaction at 1.37. Wrong number. Is it 1.3? Yes, 1.37 round number. And then onto gold. It's pushing up. It's pushing up. I think it's going to continue that way. Set away. Channel is good. That channel is on H1. It looks nice on H1 as a channel to the upside. You can see that it's crossing over. I like how it's forming up. Dollar is dropping. So that's not even the case now. Dollar is dropping towards that level. We might do this, all right? But it's dropping and we're going to see this push up. I would say well, you scalp it up. This is on H1. You look at it on H4, it's still to the upside. Right? Obviously on H4, then you will want to be a bit safer and say that it needs to go past the previous high of 3415 to get up to 3440. Okay, so oops. Above 3415 could trade up to 3440. Obviously, when we look at this, it also shows that maybe I'm trying to just reframe. I keep reminding myself that we're looking at this on a weekly time frame. For those of you who only join us on Friday, maybe we might see a rebound from here off 9760. So maybe on gold we might see on the H4 that kind of move back down again. So at 3430, it's really that point where you want to watch out and be very careful of. There is obviously further upside, but I think that so far that's the level that we want to be crucial level to watch out for. Okay, I'm happy with that. I'm happy with all that. If you're happy with all that, let me know. Let me know. And how you let me know? Click on the like and subscribe button if you haven't already. Then now let's look at a couple more of the others, which is firstly the Aussie yen. Aussie yen, we can take all of that away for now. We've done those on H1. Look at that. Okay. And we've got a level here. But now we can call that a support. We've got a high level there. That's a dotted level. Now, if you look at this, remembering Aussie yen, so we look at the Aussie dollar, we're thinking of that upside, maybe a bit of a retrace, and then the upside. The yen, maybe, I think a bit less likely now, but maybe a bounce up. Aussie yen, I feel it is going to be held here, or it is being held here at 9615. It's being held at this level now, right? So what needs to happen on the Aussie yen to the upside? Aussie dollar needs to climb up and possibly break that resistance, or the yen needs to push up a little bit. I actually think that it might hold. I actually think that this level might hold. Jimmy says I'm looking for a reversal. Yeah, I actually think that this level might hold, but I mean, looking at this, it shows that it's going to cross back up, or indicates that it might cross back up. But on H1, it shows a bit of a retrace coming up, which I kind of agree with. I'm kind of thinking that might retrace, and I would like to see it retrace a little bit more than that 23. right? So the straightforward answer is, yep, it might sit here. Oops, I drove today. The quick answer is that it might sit across, and then we look for that breakout to that point there, right there, right? The more thought out idea would be maybe a retrace down to 9554 before pushing back up again, about there. So that's what I'll be looking for. I kind of see that a bit more, that retrace and then a push up again. So if you want to trade a reversal, maybe 96 to 9550. But I would just sit there, I would wait for a retrace, and then I'll look to buy up from this point, or I'll look for it to break and buy up to that point, because still an uptrend, wouldn't be looking for it to short term, since it's 20th of August, a bit of an uptrend. So try and look for that to follow through. Okay. But that level is interesting at 9 at this point right here. I think we could see that right here. I wouldn't be too happy to sell it down. I want to see that what happens here at 9550. Okay. And then on to Swiss yen. Oh, look at Swiss yen pushing up because the Swissy is pushing down. Strength onto the Swissy, dollar weakness. Swissy strength pushing back up. Swiss yen, that, I remember when we talked about that. We talked about it on 20th. That point there. So 50 is pretty much broken. Take that one away. Don't need that or that. Squeezy pushing up. Yen sitting there. I do think, just looking at this, I see this on H4 again. It's been in that consolidative mood. It's at a 6-1. It's going to get choppy. I think it's going to get choppy. And I think that, 183.45, that's, do you think it's going to come back in and then push back up? That's, that does, you have that, you always have that a little bit earlier entry, which is because you look at it, push up and then come back in. I kind of see that above 184 as in break and then that push back up. It's pushing up now. That's good. I want to see it break above 184 as a round number. I'll be looking at 184. No, I'll be looking at 184.30 that way. Then I'll have a stop loss of 40, and then I'll have a take profit. I don't think 120, but they're based on H4 time frame. If you look at it on H1, there is that move to the upside. I think I know why you're saying it's going to retrace. I don't think it'll retrace that much. I think that it'll get up to that point at 184. Back down a bit. Maybe 183.70 and then push back up that way. I think 184 45 seems a little bit low. I think a test of 184, bit of a retrace and then push back up. But that's kind of what I'll be looking out for. Yeah. I think that's a thing to look out for there. 61.8, nice round number in that area. We're going to see a reaction unless it tests this level and then it comes smashing right down like what it did there. I think it's not ready for that yet. Could see this push down a little bit more, which will bring it down to 180, up to 184. So that's a bit of a level to watch. I don't know how much you'll retrace by, but I wouldn't be too keen unless I see a breakout of that 184 level. Okay. Cool. Yeah, you're most welcome, Jimmy. And then on to DAX. Ooh, look at that. So we talked about all of that on the H1. There's a lot of lines. Take all of those away for now. Let's look at an H1 first. It is breaking to the downside, breaking that support. We've got that 50 there. It's kind of holding it. Back to the H4. We've got that 50. We've got that point. I think there might be some downside. Take all that away. I think there might be some downside here to shout about. That's my high. Yes, okay. Come down to this point here. This is the whole area that we're going to watch. And because we've seen it bounce off, we've seen that big crash down. And this, if this comes down, if I got my areas, my levels right, if this comes down, that would support the euro dollar with a good push to the upside. So, if I'm not wrong on the correlation, it looks good. That looks good, and it's just breaking that round number level as well, 61. So what needs to happen here is that it needs to break below 23800 there. I think it's going to get choppy in here, but below 23800, 23800, then we could see a bit of choppiness. Not going to rule that out, but then maybe further downside down to 23400. We look for that. Pound dollar. Okay, I like that. I'll give it time. I'll try this on H4 and let it close below that point to sell down. So I like that pound dollar to the downside. Yeah, so I think that's, for me, that is the DAX where I think it needs to break 23,800. Bit of choppiness, bit of vol, but it could get down to 23,400. I'm absolutely spent already, but let's give a quick look at cryptos. That's pushed down. We talked about this as an area that it needed to. No worries. Thank you all. I'm not done yet. I'm going to go through cryptos. Uh, that's working exactly as we talked about. I can't remember when we talked about this, but it's gone right up to that area. It's pushed right down. It's exactly what we spoke about. I think on Tuesday. And then it's pushing down. So what needs to happen here is that it needs to now break below that point. Yeah, I remember saying this. I think Jimmy asked, yeah, on Monday. I thought it was Tuesday. On Monday, Jimmy asked about it. I said, I don't think I've got good news for everyone, and rightly so, because um, I said that it's going to come up to the trend line and it's going to push back down, and it's done that. It's done exactly that. Come out to a trend line, push back down. Now at this point, it needs to break 109,700. It needs to break 109,700 to the downside. But I don't think it'll be that straightforward. It might sit across. I don't. Okay, the nice view would be below 109,500. If you put that down to 109,500, and then to the downside. But I think it might consolidate along this level. It might even push back up a little bit before coming back down. I get lucky sometimes. I get lucky with guessing where it's going to go that way. It might even do that. I think it might consolidate at 109,500 before breaking down. Because once it gets to about that point, people start buying like aggressively. All right, and then it comes down to this level. So 109,500, you see if you drag it right across, it makes a lot of sense why it could sit there. Okay, that's Bitcoin. Ethereum's right at an equal level, could push a little bit lower. I'm going for the full bottle, guys. I'm going to go through everything. Friday is going to be the session that you guys want to turn up for, and also be a member. That point. So we're looking at that to the downside. I think that's got good, better potential to the downside than Bitcoin. What's my favorite for today, for this week? You know what's my favorite. My favorite is this one. It's breaking, which is also one reason why I'm like, oh, I need to get through this, and then I want to jump onto this. Pound dollar to the downside, big favorite there. If I have the time, which I don't really have today, is to try and scalp gold to the upside. Everything else looks like it could, but it doesn't want to. Right, Aussie and Kiwi could, but doesn't want to. Euro is going to take a bit longer to break up. Yen is deciding for that move. It probably happened too late. I can't get in. That kind of setup. Euro and pound yen might be a good one, especially if the pound dollar drops. I would look at pound yen and pound dollar. But when you want to size down, because the stop is a little bit bigger, that's never my interest. That one's gonna be boring. So this two, pound dollar, pound yen to the downside, gold. If I get to scalp it down, Swiss not high on my list, on my watch list. But we're going to see what happens at that resistance. Aussie yen we talked about as well, could retrace, and the DEX is there. Bitcoin is going to push down. We're going to see that reaction down at that support level here, together with Ethereum for that downside towards 4,100. I'm not in yet because I can't jump in while we're streaming. But maybe at the no, I wouldn't get in yet. I would wait a little bit. I'll look at it on H4. I'll give it a little bit of time. I think this candle closes on 5 in 40 minutes. I think there's going to be a bit of retrace before I jump into it. And even if I get in a little bit later, there is enough space there. The 80 pips to the downside, I think that still would work out. I'll ping you on I'll ping everyone on Discord to let you know about the pound dollar as well. All right. So let me know, what did you think of this Friday session, especially for a lot of you. I see a lot of you on the session, but not a lot of people talking. So if you're new and shy, don't worry. Don't be new and shy. Be a regular and get chatting away. As you can see, regulars here chat and share ideas and thoughts, and we talk about all kinds of stuff, food and football and all that kind of stuff. Um, so yeah, let me know what you think of the session today. And if you're not already a member and a subscriber, I hope to see you. I hope you are a subscriber and a member soon. And I'm getting more and more agitated with the way the pound dollar is going. But yeah, I hope to see you again next Friday. And if you become a member, I'll see you on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and also on Friday. Like it would be nice to have regular. Yeah, yeah, we'll get back our regulars on Friday sessions as well. Okay, so with that said, I need to go look at what's gonna happen on the pound dollar and jump into a couple of trades. It is Friday, so please have a great Friday night, a fantastic weekend, and I'll see you all next week. Take care now. Bye bye.